Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to Arise with Jessica Carey and welcome to Clary Sage Week. I didn't get in yesterday as I had quite a lot on yesterday. So I'm popping in this morning for you all with my musings on the gorgeous Clary Sage. It's been such a gorgeous week diving into this oil and delving into not only the physical benefits of this oil and how I can practically support my hormonal health, my menstrual cycle, my emotional balance with this beautiful oil, but also how its energetic properties have just propelled and created so much vision in my life. So I'm going to share a few things today on how I've used this gorgeous oil. And I'm going to share with you a couple of blends that I've used and a couple of diffuser blends as well. So Clary Sage is a flower. It's a gorgeous flower. It's got really soft, feminine, musky scent. And when I smell it, it's not overpowering like a lot of floral aromas are. It's just it brings me into my inner vision. So what it does is I've actually been applying this beautiful oil Clary Sage to my third eye every single day. So right on here, just applying it to this part of my body. So what this center is, our third eye, many have probably seen it. If you haven't heard of it, through the different systems called chakra systems, which are energy systems within our body. We have 7 within our body, and we have many more as well in different parts of our body and outside of our body as well. But our third eye is known for our inner vision area. It's what we see, what we vision, our intuition. So when we tap into that space within us, there's infinite potential in what we can create in our life. It's like seeing past the veil of illusion and being willing to open yourself up to new perceptions and new ways of being. So I think that's really important when, especially as adult humans, we can get such fixed ideas on how things are supposed to be and not willing to see past the illusion of truth. So what I've found with Clary Sage for me this week, it's encouraged me to be really open to new ideas, but also new visions, and it's almost tapped me deeper into that part of myself to see infinite possibility. As adults, I see us getting so fixated on one way of doing things, or because it's comfortable, or because that's what we were taught, or that's what our parents taught us, or we lose that sense of that inner child within that just sees open possibilities and creative channels that we can tap into and just create a bigger vision for our life, or a bigger vision for what we want to create in business or relationships or whatever it may be. So this week I actually tuned into this oil and I created a gorgeous crystal grid board and put some of my intentions into that space using beautiful crystals and a gorgeous drum with a crystal grid on it that I have. You may have seen it in my post. And I infused it and meditated and prayed and used Clary Sage through this process to manifest my desires. And what I've found it has done for me, moving on from the last few weeks that we've been through, it's helped me release control of how I think things should be and open myself up to allowing a more expansive awareness of how I can tune into that. So Clary Sage for me is just this beautiful oil, and on an emotional level, it is the oil of clarity and vision. So that is why I used it in this beautiful way to manifest, to create desires and dreams and whatever I wanted to tune into this week. And it has been a massive week for expansive ideas and movement in my life. So yeah, it's a really beautiful oil to use for that manifestation purposes. And it gives you a lot of clarity and just open-mindedness. So how often as adults do I witness people seeing things just from one view? or things are black or white. And it's just like, they're just not. We've got so much imagination that we can tap into, or ways to create and attract the life we desire. So Clary Sage, this baby, that's what I've used that for this week on an emotional and energetic level. On a really practical and physical level, excuse me, Clary Sage supports the hormones and your menstrual cycles. So last week I tuned into cinnamon bark, which I shared with you a blend that I use that for when I am ovulating. So that was a gorgeous blend. So if you want to see that blend, please tap back into my last video on cinnamon. And this week I'm going to share you with my other blend for the other half of my cycle. So this guy. So we have in this one myrrh, geranium, bergamot, clary sage, and cypress. So this is the first blend I actually made to support my hormones. And this blend I actually created and tapped into to support my cycle, premenstrual and when I was bleeding. The reason for that is these oils are really supportive for the hormones. And clary sage is obviously one of those. So clary sage is a gorgeous flower that is very supportive for the hormonal system. So when you think hormones, think clary sage. So it's actually found in our Clary Calm blend, which is the women's monthly blend. And it's really, really gorgeous to use as well on the abdomen and the womb. But I actually layer it with this guy. So this guy I use for 2 weeks of my cycle, and in my cinnamon video, I use the other one for the other 2 weeks. So the reason I picked these oils, myrrh is the oil of Mother Earth. Geranium is the oil of love and trust. Bergamot is the oil of self-acceptance. Clary sage is the oil of clarity and vision. And cypress is the oil of motion and flow. So that is why I've chosen those 5 oils for when I bleed and when I'm premenstrual. And it has just transformed the way that I connect to my cycle, which I would really encourage you as a woman, if you're watching this, to do. And I found it really supportive for balancing my hormones. And I also use the Clary Calm over the top of this blend as well. Every morning and every night with both blends for the whole month. It just keeps me really centered and it keeps me really grounded in my body with my hormones. Not only does clary sage support on that physical plane for hormones, but also using them on your reflex points on your feet for a woman if you're going through change of life like menopause. Using them on the reflex points of your body for your hormonal area is really, really good. It can help ease those symptoms. And even through the emotional body, if you're thinking around, if you're feeling really limited and if you're feeling really stuck and you can't see clearly where you want to go, or you can't see past a situation, especially when emotions take over. Emotions can be really intense. Hello, beautiful Claire. Wow, lovely to see you here. So clary sage is a gorgeous blend to be able to support the emotional body. So when we are feeling intense emotions, whether that's sadness, overwhelm, grief, anger, they can take over the body in a way that we actually don't know how to get out of them. Or to move through them is a lot more uncomfortable than we want to feel. And they can stay around longer. So emotions are fleeting always. It's like a movement and a flow that moves through the body if we allow it to move through in the way that it's need to, if we allow ourselves to feel them. So clary sage is really supportive for the emotional body. So diffusing this beautiful blend, this beautiful oil, I add things like frankincense, the oil of truth, with clary sage in the diffuser. And I also like to add wild orange. So I put a little bit of a citrus with that blend, and then something grounding. Most of the blends I make, by the way, have something really grounding. They have something uplifting with the citrus, and then they have something floral. So it's bringing that feminine, the masculine, and also just that bit of spark of life into most of my blends. The reason for that is I just think it gives a balanced blend. Yeah, Claire, it's a beautiful oil to use for labour. And if anyone is wanting to know a bit more about this oil to support through labour, it's an oil that you actually wouldn't use if you're pregnant, you wouldn't use this blend because it actually supports bringing on labor. So note to everybody, don't use that. I also want to share too, any woman who's actually trying for a baby, if you're using the blend to support your hormones and then you're trying, don't use it in between. And just be really consciously aware of this and do your research on this, because this oil brings on labor. It's a really gorgeous natural remedy and support for that space and through pregnancy. So really, really, really consciously be aware. There's an amazing book called Pregnancy and Essential Oils that if you have children or you're a mother or you're going through your stages of pregnancy, that I would encourage you to get. So it's just a powerhouse, this baby, but she's just so soft and supportive for the feminine part of ourselves. So for the emotional body, it's just really supportive like that. So when I do the blend, I usually do those type of 3 oils. The citrus, like orange, is the oil of abundance. Clary sage, the oil of clarity and vision. And say frankincense, the oil of truth. Just a gorgeous blend if you're wanting to manifest your desires, if you're wanting to pray or meditate or whatever it may be that you want to do to create, to draw in what you're longing for or what you're yearning for or what you want to create in your life. I'm really supportive for that. And what else have I used it for this week? I've just really tapped deep into that energetic level of that clarity and vision. I can't even explain how amazing this oil has supported me in activating and opening up my third eye, in seeing what is possible and what has happened from that process of being really open to what is possible. Things just keep coming in, like all these amazing opportunities and all these amazing just synchronicities just keep happening. And as I say every week, every oil that I'm anchoring into to share with you, it's just always so aligned. It's just, I'm so aligned with sharing these musings with you every week because they truly support our life on such a profound level. But I just can't even explain the infinite possibilities that happen when you actually open yourself up to that. I just completely surrendered. I let go of control, and all these beautiful opportunities and loving things just keep happening to me in my week. So Clary sage, the oil of clarity and vision. Pop it on your third eye. Use it to support hormonal health, menstrual cycle, change of life cycle. Really do your research on it if you're wanting to try for a baby or if you're pregnant. Really tap into that to use during your pregnancy, at the end of your pregnancy for labor. Really, really powerful oil to use for that, and a really beautiful natural remedy for that change, that process of giving birth to new life. You know, as a mother, I would encourage any mothers to really tap into how you can be the healer in your home, not only for your body, but for your children and for the people in your life. So using these natural remedies, I would encourage any mother to, and I would empower you to do your own research. Like, these are my musings on these gorgeous oils. And I know from my experience as a young 20-something how I've used them. I haven't used them personally for labor support or anything to do with that, but I have heard a lot of incredible stories about it. But I do have a lot of musings on how I've used it to support my hormonal health and my menstrual cycle. So if anyone has any questions, please pop them below. But this is, and I share this with my team all the time, this is not about me having all the answers. This is about me sharing how I've used each oil and my musings on how they can support in some way in your life. So I encourage you to empower yourself, and this is what my intention is from sharing these videos and this content, is to empower you, not to enable you. You already have the tools, the knowledge, and the means to find out whatever you want in this life. And as long as it's from a source that you love and trust, then that's really, really important. So please do your own research and find out and question things. Question the way that we already view the world in so many ways, and open yourself up to new perceptions and new ways of seeing and being in this world. and just have the courage to see the truth, whether that's your truth or somebody else's, but find what your truth is and express that and share that to the world and share your vision. So I think that's all I need to say today. So I hope you have a gorgeous weekend, and if you want to know anything more about Clary Sage, I've shared a lot of benefits for it this week. There's a few videos on my page around hormonal health. I've shared the scientific and the emotional as well, and some practical as well. So please, I would encourage you to have a look at those posts and keep researching as well. But next week, I am going to be diving into the gorgeous clove essential oil, which I'm really excited about. It's a really beautiful oil to use practically in the home. So I'm going to be diving into that. But I hope you all have a gorgeous weekend, and I look forward to seeing you next week for Clove Week. Mwah. Bye, beautiful Claire. I'll see you soon.